Howdy folks, this is BelGeode, this is Microsoft Flight Simulator, and this is a test, otherwise known as one of my chill vids. And again, Happy New Year to you. It is January the 6th at the time of my recording this video, and I got a lovely surprise in my messages on Facebook. It was the link to this aircraft. This aircraft is by Cockspur. This is the Embraer Phenom 100, PH100. It's a tiny wee little birdie. It's so cute. I've always had a love affair with the Phenom ever since Microsoft Flight Simulator X, FSX. And I think back then, I'm trying to remember, it might have been, no, I don't think it was Carinado. I think it was someone else. Name escapes me. Lion something. I don't remember, but it'll pop up right now below because my brain is just bleh right now. In any event, hope you all are having a great new year, and this is the aircraft that we're going to show off today, the Phenom 100 by Embraer, but created for the sim by Cockspur, as you can see right below the canopy there. So first off, huge thanks to Sebastian at Cockspur for the preview copy of this bird. Technically, it's a release copy of the bird because it is available now. The link, of course, will be in the video description below. And we are back here in Papua New Guinea. More importantly, we're at Port Moresby, which is one of the major airports on the southern side of Papua New Guinea. And we're going to be going back to one of my favorite haunts, Nadzab. Nadzab is north of here and let's say a little bit in, shall we say, from the northern side of Papua New Guinea. So it's going to be a fairly long flight. I'm just going to warn you from now. So you may want to go ahead and grab a snack and grab a drink because there's going to be a lot of flying today. Now, by contrast, there's not a whole hell of a lot of stuff that I'm going to need to say beforehand. You can already see what the textures are like. You can always check out like Aviators channel or one of the other channels that takes a little time to show you all the various textures. But suffice to say, in VR, everything looks great. I'm really loving it. They did a phenomenal job putting this thing together. The textures are sharp. Everything is just on point. The modeling, all of that is really good. Really, really good. Great job, Cockspur, on this one. Now, as far as starting her up and getting her going, it's pretty easy to do. So we're going to go through that process relatively quickly. But just bear in mind, it probably won't be by the books because I'm running on memory. And like I've already established, my memory ain't all that great. But as is typical, we will go through the static external cameras. So let's do that now. That's it. That's all I got to show you. That's literally all that Cockspur gave us on the external static cams. Cockspur, where's my BelGeode landing cam? Come on, man. Come on. You know I gotta have a camera like right in between the landing gear at the back there so that I can, you know, do those cinematic approaches. I'll tell you what, I'll make a deal with you. I'll add it in there and I'll send you the cameras.cfg, okay? Does that work? Okay, because I'm totally doing that. You can expect it in your inbox momentarily. All right, but yeah, that's it. That's all we got for cameras. So we're done with that. Let's head inside. Okay, so first things first, you're going to notice that we are standing in the doorway. You're also going to be noticing that I'm facing this way instead of this way. That's because in VR, it's a little bit of weirdness. We actually don't have a way of panning the camera around in VR while we're inside. We can do it outside in drone cam, but not in cockpit view. We're pretty much stuck here. So if I want to look to the right, I physically have to turn myself to the right. But that'll give me the opportunity to show you the cabin. It's a very nice little cabin. As you can imagine, it doesn't seat very many. It only seats 4 people, so we got 2 seats there. We got this seat here, and we got this seat here. Over by the emergency exit. We've got little lights and everything, so yeah, that all looks pretty cool. And if we go further back, Hey, look at that. A toilet. Yeah, we've actually got a toilet with a view, no less. So while you're doing your business, you can look out the window and see the clouds go by. It's awesome. It's awesome. And there is a door, by the way. It does close. So we'll get out here and I will attempt to turn myself around and close the door. You'll just have to believe me that the door is closed because I am not turning myself 180 degrees in this seat. All right, but yeah, this is my default location whenever I am flying in this bird and we're at cruise on autopilot. So that way I can look out the window because sometimes in flight sim, especially in VR, sometimes you just like to be a passenger and look out the window and remind you of what you would love to do in real life. Be a passenger and look out the window. That's totally what we're going with. All right, but let's go ahead and get everything set up here. Even though we have not yet added the passengers, I'm going to go ahead and close this because I'm notorious for forgetting. So there we go. That is done. And we're going to show you around the cockpit here really quick. So in my seat, height is just about right. This is a very cramped cockpit. You think this thing is small on just a regular 2D screen? It is tiny in VR. And I'm fairly certain that that is exactly what it's like in real life. This is like strapping on a fighter jet is what this is. It's small. It's small. Now we do have a checklist here, but I can't really use it because the writing is really small. Even though it is really crisp, because the size of this thing is very, very tiny, there's kind of no point my even utilizing it. But I think I kind of remember the flow, so we can go with that. But one thing I will show you real quick is the equipment page. So you can see we got chocks. We can put the chocks on. We got covers for the engines. We can put those on. Cargo doors we can open up. So that'll open the front and the rear cargo. So we can close that back up. Control locks. You can see what it does there. Pretty straightforward stuff. And the GPU. I'm going to forego the GPU because we should be able to get her started up in QuickTime. All right, so let's get rid of the checklist there. Now, the reason why I point that out is because, unfortunately, this thing does not have an in-sim checklist. Now, you know me. Everything I do in Flight Sim is in VR. Cockspur, we need this. This is extremely important, especially since you already know that we cannot see this or we can barely see this. We have to have this. Please do this. It's not just you. I rag on every developer that does not put that in there because this is why this is so important, because we need this in VR so we don't have to lift our headset, open up a PDF, and follow the checklist. It just breaks the immersion. In any event, since we're up here, let's go ahead and add some weight and balance here. All right, first thing I need is gas. So I'm going to fill us up to about 70% gas. That should be good. Passengers, we've got space for 4 passengers. I'm going to add weights to passengers 1, 2, and 4. And now I do need to lift up the headset a little. So we're going to go 170 for that. And we're going to go 170 for that. Passenger 4. 170 for that. Okay. And as far as cargo, let's go with, well, let's see, we're at 966, so not a lot of cargo. Let's go with 100 pounds in the back, 976, and let's go with about 30 pounds in the front. Okay, so now we have cargo in the front, cargo in the back, and we should have 3 people on board with an empty seat for me to sit in. Let us verify that. So we'll close that out. And we're going to go in the back and we'll see who we got. Hey! And look at that. Nice empty seat for me to sit in. So we've got blonde lady number 1. We've got black lady there. And we've got another blonde lady who might actually be a ginger. Maybe. Possibly. Either way. Her hands, yeah, her hands need a little work. But, okay. Can't help but think I've seen these 3 before. Yeah, that's all I'll say about that. But suffice to say, now we have passengers and their weights, and they all magically weigh the same amount. So that is awesome, ain't it? All right, so let's go ahead and get this puppy started. Let's see. First thing I think I need is going to be the battery. So we'll get battery 2 on and battery 1 on. Okay, we'll wait for everything to fire up. Let's get our nav lights on. And I'm going to get our panel lights on as well, too, and turn those up because that just helps me see a little bit better. Okay, good deal, good deal. Ignition, we're going to set that to auto. Okay, we don't want it to on. We want it to auto. Leave it there. All right. Generators, we'll leave those off for now. Oxygen is back here. Can't really see it all that well because very cramped cockpit means it's extremely difficult for me to maneuver my head so that you can see it on a video. I can see it because my field of view is bigger than what actually gets shown on a video. All right, fuel pumps. Go ahead and turn you on. Set you to auto. Passenger signs. Go ahead and get the no belts on. ELT is supposed to come on, but I haven't been able to get this switch to work. Oh, it's backwards. That's why. Okay. Cockspur, this switch is backwards. Just so you're aware. Hydraulic pumps will set to auto. Let's see. Pitot heat, we'll leave that off for now. These are all our anti-ice protection and whatnot. And we'll go ahead and click that. So that'll get our engine gauges and everything up and running. All right, so we are ready for an engine start. Make sure our throttle is all the way down. Make sure our parking brake is all the way on. It is. We're good. So let us start with engine number 2. Let me separate my 2 throttles here. And we'll go ahead and push it to idle. There we go. Good start on 1. Well, technically that would be 2. But yeah, either way, good start. Good start. I like it. All right, and let's go ahead and get generator up. Generator 2. Okay. And we should probably set our bleeds on. We'll set the bleeds to both. Let's go ahead and get engine 1 on. So clicky clicky. Like I said, a lot of this is going to be out of order because it's pretty much what I remember.
Ground, November 70 Alpha Golf Bravo with Echo request taxi to the active south departure.
November 70 Alpha Golf Bravo taxi to and hold short of runway 14 left via taxiway Bravo Alpha. Contact tower on 118.1 when ready.
Okay.
Taxi to and hold short runway 14 left using taxiway Bravo Alpha Alpha Golf Bravo.
All right, let's get generator 1 up so we are good to go. And let's go ahead and get our oxygen on. So passenger auto, push the oxygen switch down. And that'll make sure we've got oxygen ready. Parking brake is on. None of the other things are illuminated, which is great. So let's set up our CDI real quick. We'll set you to GPS. And I don't know about you, but I like to change a lot of the PFD options. So for like bearing 1, for example, we're going to set you to GPS so that way I can see my waypoint. Bearing 2, we'll just set to nav 1 for ILS. Wind, we'll add in, well, it says no wind data, but normally I keep that to option 3. So yeah, we're pretty good to go. Altimeter is set to 90.92, which is where we want to be. So we'll go back on that. All right, and let's see how our engines are doing. Very good, very good. Fuel, we've got about 1920. Flaps are up full. We can probably put flaps down 1 notch, so let's go ahead and do that. And cabin out. We'll go ahead and get you up and running here, if I can. I cannot. Why can I not? Mouse cursor's like not clicking on that. Okay, well, we'll leave that as it is. Everything else should be pretty much set. So the only other thing we need to do is set our altitude. Now the altitude, I notice I can't really do it any quicker than this, but I do happen to have a switch bound on my Verpal, so that'll help us out a lot. We're going up to about 24,000 feet for this flight. So we're just going to set that right now. (22, 23, 24). All right, and as far as our heading, we happen to know that we need to be on a heading of 140 for takeoff, so we'll go ahead and set that up real quick. There we go, 140. Lined up, baby, lined up. So the runway we're looking for is technically behind us, so it should be relatively easy to get to. As you can see, we do have a crosswind, so that may be problematic. Let's go ahead and get our taxi lights on, and in this aircraft there's no actual beacon, so we can just turn the strobes on and that'll do the trick there. All right, let's do a quick look outside, make sure everything is kosher, and then we will head out. Okay, everything looks good, so let's go ahead and move out. We'll get the parking brakes off, and we'll give it a lot of throttle. We were cleared for 14 left, I believe, so that is where we're going to be heading. Pull the throttle back just a touch here. I like to say this aircraft is easy mode. It's got like all the modern accoutrements that you would be used to in a very light business jet. It's rated for one pilot to fly it, so that basically tells you that the workload is going to be minimal. And that's one of the things that I enjoy about this kind of jet. Now, I know there are the classics like Learjet and so on and so forth that are definitely out there, and there's a really good one that I have yet to show off for the channel, but I will get to at some point in time. But honestly, I have the most fun in these kinds of jets where there's really no worries. As long as you remember how the G1000 works and how to set everything the way that you need to have it, you're pretty much good to go. You're golden. It's an easy, fun flight. So if you're looking for something that is going to be, you know, in-depth, or as everyone likes to call it, study level, and yes, I'm doing air quotes as I say that. I hate that term, study level. You're not studying for anything. Sheesh. But yeah, you won't find that here. It's designed to be easy, just like the real one is designed to be easy. You don't need to worry about anything with this thing except making sure you're not going to fall out of the sky or run out of gas. All right, let's taxi our way to the hold short real quick.
Tower, November 70 Alpha Golf Bravo, at runway 14 left, ready for departure to the south.
Thank you, Kara.
November 70 Alpha Golf Bravo, wind 082 at 20. South departure approved. Cleared for takeoff runway 14 left.
All right, that's all I needed to see. Okay,
Cleared
so
for
let's get...
takeoff runway 14 left Alpha Golf Bravo.
I don't think we need engine ice on, but I'm going to go ahead and turn all of that stuff on anyway, because as you can see, there's a lot of clouds ahead, and it may become a factor at some point. All right, now there is supposed to be a takeoff config button, but for the life of me, I can't seem to get that to work. So what I'm just going to do here is I'm actually going to set our pitch trim just a little. So let's see, we have it set for like 15 pitch trim. Hopefully that will be good enough. Hopefully. We'll definitely find out in a moment here. All right, but we do have our landing lights on. We've got everything pretty much set. The only thing I need to do is set up our yaw damper and, of course, our autopilot after we take off. Everything on this side is good. Generators are on. Oh, I should probably have the bus tie set to auto as well, so we'll go ahead and do that real quick. And the only caution that we have is for the parking brake, which will go away as soon as I hit the parking brake button. And what does the advisory say? Why are you advising me? What are you advising me? Nothing. You're advising me nothing. Good grief. Let's take the active. Alright, no traffic going out. No traffic coming in. Okay. Buckle up, folks. We're about to bust out of here like we're blasting out a Mos Eisley. And we're going to head straight for the shore. Like I said, this is a no-nonsense aircraft. It is super, super easy to fly, to control. There's no real gotchas about it. It's Embraer, and that's the Embraer philosophy when it comes to creating their aircraft. There's enough safety systems and everything in here that pretty much all you have to do is know how to fly the damn thing. That's it. Alright, so you know what it's time for, folks. Brakes down, throttles up. We're going to go full power, and like I said, we're blasting out of here. So here we go. 90%. Brakes off, full power. And we keep rolling, rolling, rolling. Once we get over about 100, she's going to want to get off the ground real sprightly like. Here we go, 100, and let's start pulling her up. We are up, up, and away. I'm going to get that yaw damper on while I'm at it. Okay, yaw damper is on. We'll hold off on the autopilot for right now. Let's go ahead and get our gear up. Gear limit speed is 180.
Alpha Golf
Flaps
Bravo,
up.
continue for south departure.
Flap
Port
speed is
Moresby
200.
Tower, November 70 Alpha Golf Bravo. Continue for south departure.
All right, and let's start pulling power back a bit here. Start trimming her down just a touch. Okay, now we're good for that autopilot, aren't we? So let's go ahead and get AP on. Get that VS on. Altitude is already selected, and nav mode for nav hold. And that's it. That's all the work you need to do. The rest of it is all
Alpha Golf
gravy.
Bravo, leaving light airspace frequency change approved.
Pull the throttle back just a touch here.
Port Moresby Tower, November 70 Alpha Golf Bravo. Frequency change.
Nice.
Port Moresby approach, November 70 Alpha Golf Bravo, is type 4 miles southeast of Port Moresby 2,400 feet. Request clearance to transition Charlie airspace.
We'll let Kara do her thing.
Alpha Golf Bravo, Port Moresby approach. Squawk 0502.
Squawk 0502 Alpha Golf Bravo.
There we go,
Alpha Golf
0502.
Bravo radar contact 5 miles southeast of Port Moresby 3,500 feet. Cleared through the Charlie airspace.
Nice.
Maintain on navigation.
Cleared through the Charlie airspace Alpha Golf Bravo.
Outstanding. See, this is what I love. This is really what I love. All right, let's get our pressurization mode to auto. So that way we can keep an eye on the cabin pressure here. You can see it says 1100 and climbing. And we're pretty much good to go. Trim is under autopilot control. Battery's looking good. Flaps are up full. We still have about 1805 in gas. Engine's doing the work. Yeah, everything is just great. Everything is just great. But our ascent rate is a little high. So we're going to pull that back just a touch here. 2,000 feet per minute. We do want to go rocket ship, but we don't want to go full rocket ship here. So that should be fine. And since I know this is going to be a long flight, obviously I'm trying to get to cruise as quickly as possible. When we get to that lake that you're seeing suddenly appear on the G1000 there, we should be over 10,000 feet, so that way we can turn off our landing lights and everything. And I know we are outside of the US, so the barometric pressure, the standard pressure, tends to be at a different altitude than it would be in the US. However, I'm still going to go by 18,000, even though we are at 29.902 anyway. But with all of that having been said, we're making good speed and good time and good climb. So how about we go to that outside view and start doing some of that cinematic stuff. Alright, so I came back in because we are closing in on our first waypoint, and of course we're going to need to kill the lights, landing lights that is. 9800, 9900, you know what, that's good enough. Like I said, it's not going to be by the numbers here. Okay, but now we're going to turn and let's do some more cinematic stuff. I feel like that was the money shot right there. Okay, so we are at 12,000 feet and climbing. Remember, we're going up to 24,000. Now, we can also put on the flight plan, so let me do that real quick and see what we're looking like. ICO, Alpha Yankee, Kilo Oscar. Okay, so we have about 35 miles until we hit there. We might be able to get to about 20,000 feet, close to, by the time we get there, given our rate of climb. But just bear in mind, I'm going to have to shallow that up once we get a little bit higher, because as you can see, our airspeed is going to start dropping as well. But yeah, so far, no problems. No problems. I love when an aircraft is like this. Like I said, there's no gotchas, you know? It's just, it does what it says on the tin. And I greatly appreciate that. The only downside that I have found so far in VR, and I'm going to demonstrate this here. If I center my VR view, look at where it puts me. You see that, right? So that's clearly something that the developer needs to work on, but since I know how to fix that, because that's also in the cameras.cfg file, then I can go ahead and get that fixed as well. Alright, let's see if we can pull ourselves back up to the proper height and the proper distance. Whoa, too high. Too high. Okay, that's where we want to be, as high as the headrest, which is perfectly fine. So, yeah. That is in the cameras.cfg file, so I will take a look at that for you, Cockspur, and see if I can't sort that out. And then, of course, send you the modified file. But don't be too surprised if I add in that BelGeode landing cam, because like I said, I need that. That is my thing. You know this. You should know this. Alright, let's bring our descent rate, or our ascent rate down. So we're at 1,800 feet per minute. We're at 16,000 feet. We still got a little ways to go. What I'll do is once we get to cruise, I'll go in the back and kind of hang out with our lady friends back there. And then we can talk a little bit about life and simming and all that good jazz. You know how we roll here on this channel. But in the meantime, how about you enjoy some of the beautiful Papua New Guinea scenery down below us? Okay, so we are at 20,000 feet, and as you can see, we're hovering around 200 in knots, so I am going to bring our rate of descent down a little because we want to be right around 24,000 once we hit ICO there. So we'll bring that down to about 1,200 feet per minute ascent, and that'll also get us some of our speed back. Because it's going to be a long video, like I said, folks, so I want to make sure that we're making good time. So far, so good. I'm showing on my recorder that we've got 34 minutes into the video. So hey, not too bad. I guess we should thank Cockspur for not having too many of those external static cameras, because that saved me a lot of talking time before we got the engines started. But here we go. Here's some of the highest mountains in Papua New Guinea. Unfortunately, I have no idea what the mountain range is called. If I remember, it will be popping up right down there below. But I can't always guarantee that I'll remember. Well, you never know. One thing I will say, the world does look great. Ever since they added World Update 13, this area of the world actually does look considerably better. There's still some areas where there are issues with clouds and so on that are baked into the terrain that are obviously from the satellite imagery. I'm hoping that they'll eventually be able to resolve that with the AI that they've got working on that. One thing I do wish they would resolve, the clouds. You may notice if you are an avid VR user in Microsoft Flight Simulator, or even if you're on flat monitor, that the clouds are still very much pixelated. Perfect example is what I'm staring at right now. Yeah, that has not gone away. I still don't get it though. You have games like IL-2, Sturmovik, for example, who do an absolutely phenomenal job on the clouds. You've got DCS, who basically uses similar technology to what Microsoft Flight Simulator is using for their clouds. But they don't have the same pixelated look that MSFS has. And I can't quite put a finger on it. I can't quite figure out why that is the case. But with that having been said, we are at our cruise altitude, as you can see, 24,000. I'm going to hit the barometer there, so standard baro, even though it's the same exact pressure. We're going to pull the power back just a touch here. So let's see what we're set to. 93. Temperature's looking good, 713. Fuel, we're at 1586. And we're just about ready for our waypoint. It's a beautiful thing. So we're just over 250 knots. We should be stable about there. I don't think it's going to fluctuate too much. We're at 24,000 feet and looking good. We shouldn't need to contact the tower for quite some time, at least until we get closer to Nadzab. But just so you have an idea as to what my plans are. So the next waypoint that we've got coming up is Morbi, and let me zoom us out and I'll show you where that is. So there it is, on the northern coast of Papua New Guinea. And from Morbi, we are going to be heading northwest, or northwest, to Larid, which is where Leh is, the city of Leh, which is by the bay, on our way into Nadzab. So what we plan on doing is we're staying at cruise altitude until we hit Morbi. Once we hit Morbi, we're going to come down to about 10,000 feet when we reach Larid. And then between Larid and the next waypoint, which is Yankee November Zulu Whiskey Alpha, or INZWA, as I'm going to call it, we're going to bring it down to about 5,000 feet. No lower than that. The reason why, you see the tips of these mountains here? If we go any lower than that, we're going to run into problems. So that's our downwind leg from Larid to INZWA. The one that's flashing right now that says DME 10, that is where we're going to pick up the actual approach. So we're not actually using approach procedures here. This is something that I manually created. But that's the beauty of Flight Sim. I can do stuff like that. I can manually create my flight plans. I don't have to follow what's there in real life. I know a lot of you guys do like to follow what's there in real life, and you know what? More power to you. That is awesome and amazing, and the sim will allow you to do that. Me, I like to have the pseudo-realistic stuff. It doesn't have to be 100% accurate. It just has to be something that's plausible. And that is something that I basically go with when it comes to doing flight simming. So once we reach the INZWA, we're going to be at 5,000, and then we're going to need to drop it like a rock to DME 10 and get her down to about 1,800-ish. And then we can turn our right base, and that'll bring us on to final. So that is the plan, man. And actually, you know what I'm going to do here? I'm going to put this up here, so that way I can see that. We'll hide this from here, and that way I can just zoom this back in. So there you go, at a glance. That is where we are headed, and you can see where we are right now. So we are making good time. All right, once again, we'll go back to the outside view, make sure everything looks kosher, and then we'll hop in the back and hang out with the ladies. All right, let's work our way to the back. Kara, it is your cockpit. Hello, ladies. I don't remember the names that I gave you all because, of course, I have seen these models before. They've been in a number of planes over the years. They're standard models that you can get online and so on and so forth, and just plop them into any project that you have. So they do tend to appear often in a lot of developers' works, but it's okay. It's still fine. All right, let me get my light on here. Hey, can I turn it down? I can. Oh, I can turn it up. Oh, that's bright. Yeah, I don't need it that bright. I just need it on. There we go. Now, the only downside is there's not a lot of, I guess, creature comforts. Like, I can't click on this and get the table to pop out. I can't, like, get a bottle of wine or, you know, any of that kind of stuff, which normally that stuff would be stored under here anyway. It's basic. It's really basic. I mean, there's no other real way to put it. That's basically what it is. It is a basic aircraft. Oh, we can get the light on her. There you go. Look at that. Look at that. You got light. Aren't you wonderful? But yeah, I'm okay with basic. It does not have to be in-depth. It does not have to be, you know, every single bell and whistle. Sometimes you can get by on just the basics, the stuff that the aircraft needs. I mean, look at the quality. The quality alone speaks for itself. The ease of use speaks for itself. The fact that in VR I can actually fly it around and I will not lose every single frame per second. That, for me, is huge, and probably even more important than whether or not this thing has, you know, like all the circuit breakers modeled or whatever. I am not losing any frames when I do this. This is quite possibly one of the smoothest business jets that I have ever been in. And believe me, I've tried a few. You've seen them on the channel. But yeah, I have zero complaints whatsoever when it comes to this one. This is just the perfect balance of performance and beauty. I'm okay with it. I'm very much okay with it. But in any event, folks, how are you all been doing? What are your plans for 2024? Now is your time. If you've made it this far in the video, now is your time to chime in the comments. Tell me what it is that you are looking most forward to in the year 2024, whether that be flight sim related or maybe something about your real life, you know, something along those lines. We don't really get a chance to talk to each other, and if you know anything about me, usually if you chime in the comments, unless it's a really, really stupid or asinine comment, I'm going to respond to you. In fact, I'll probably respond to you immediately, so make sure you refresh the page, because I get all of my comment notifications on my cell phone, so I can see what you're typing, anything you're typing, and I will generally respond quickly. So, like I said, now is your chance. Type in the comments. Tell me what it is you are most looking forward to in 2024, whether it be flight sim related, real life, or anything really. Something good that you're looking forward to or that you're hoping for. And I'll go ahead and tell you what I'm looking forward to. Well, we just got the DCS 2024 and beyond video yesterday. I'm looking forward to things like the Chinook and the Corsair and the Kiowa, and of course they also announced a MiG-29A full fidelity. So we're talking about the same kind of fidelity as the Tomcat, the Hornet, the Harrier, you know, the 16, the Falcon or Viper if you prefer. All of those birds, same kind of fidelity, they're going to be making the MiG-29A. And even though lately I haven't been really too keen on the Russian fighters per se, that is going to be enough to get me back into the DCS Russian bird, or at least that particular one. So I'm kind of looking forward to those. As far as Microsoft Flight Simulator goes, I think it's fairly obvious. I'm looking forward to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. I am hoping that they will have the alpha testing soon, and if they do, I will most definitely sign up for it, because I feel like I owe the VR community a duty to make sure that VR translates well in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, especially with some of the questionable things that we've heard lately about Microsoft basically dumping Windows Mixed Reality and so on and so forth. I want to make sure that the flight sims themselves know that it is a needed thing. We just came off of the Navigraph survey, and once again, for however many years in a row, the VR numbers are growing. There are more people out there that are using VR headsets, and more importantly, using VR headsets for flight simulation. And I see that trend going upwards. Unless, of course, the bottom falls out and there's no more, you know, quote-unquote cheaper VR headsets, and all you've got left are the $2,000 headsets, which, you know, good on you if you've got the money for that. I don't. That's a major expense for me. And it's a major barrier to growing VR. So we need some more of that mid-range VR headset action going on there. But provided that that does in fact come about, and we just don't know yet that there's going to be more mid-range VR headsets, I foresee VR growing in leaps and bounds. It's evident in all the Facebook groups that I admin. I see the numbers. I see people joining. I see people curious about VR. I see people who already have VR and just need a little bit of guidance, maybe some tutorials and so on. That's where my buddies come in, like Steve, the VR flight sim guy, or Jose, the VR pilot, and all the other folks out there that do VR-based tutorial settings, videos, and so on and so forth. That's where they come in. That's where groups like the VR Aviators, my group, comes in. And that's where the Microsoft Flight Simulator Virtual Reality group comes in. All of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I do see a lot of that growing, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing how Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 is going to play out, and how that's going to work for us in VR, whether it's actually going to be a much better experience than we have right now, which honestly, I think where VR is right now in 2020 is pretty damn good. There's not much they can do to make it better, except, of course, like give us that one-eye monitor mirror view that I've been begging for the last 4 years. Yeah, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Other than that, the other major thing I'm looking forward to, Flight Sim Expo, June 21st through 23rd in Las Vegas, Tropicana Hotel. If you have not already registered, I do have a referral link kindly provided to me by Flight Sim Expo's organizers. Feel free to use that link. That way they know that BelGeode sent you, the purple hat dude. And I will see you in Vegas this coming June. It's going to be awesome. If you've never been to one of these conventions, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you go. It's going to be awesome. Heck, bring your family, bring your significant other, and have them see just how cool the community can actually be when we get together. All right, but that is it for my soapbox. As you can see, we've already passed Morby, and we now need to make it to Larid, so that means I'm going to change our altitude. We decided that Larid is going to be at about 10,000 feet, so we're going to drop our altitude select down to 10,000 feet. And we're going to set up the VS. We're going to start dropping down. Now, how much distance do we have to get there? About 56 miles. Okay, so we're going to need to pull the throttle back. put the throttle down to about 60%. So we're at 62 N1 right now. Right about there should be good. 59.9, that's fine. As long as we start dropping here. This is where the video is going to stretch out a little bit. For the previous portion of the video, obviously that was pretty fast because, you know, we're at 85% throttle and we're at cruise altitude, so we're just zipping along. But obviously approach is generally where the bulk of your flight takes, and that is no different in this case. But we should be good. We should be really good. I'm not worried about it at all. Like I said, this aircraft is the no worries aircraft. And I love it for that. It's just so awesome. Alright, but you can see where we are headed. So that is where Leh is, just off the map, and Larid, the waypoint that we are headed to. We're trying to get down to 10,000 feet there, and then I will set us up for, 5,000 feet. And we've got about 27 miles to get to Inzwa to get to that 5,000 feet. Let me just lift up the headset just a touch here. Okay, I want to make sure everything's looking good. It says about 51 minutes recording time. So I did tell you this was going to be a long video. So if you haven't yet gotten your snacks before we get down to 10,000 feet, now is probably a good time to do so. And to make your life a little bit easier, I will stop talking and go to the outside view for an extended period of time. Okay, let's see how we're doing. So we've got 30 miles to go and we are still pretty much at 19,000 feet. So we're going to need to come down a little bit more liberally. So we're going to set ourselves up for about 1,800 feet per minute descent, and we'll pull the throttle back even further. So what are we at right now? 48? Let's go to about 45. N1, 45, roughly. That's good enough, 45.4. All right, so you can see we're stable at about 221 knots, and we're dropping like a rock now. With 27 miles to go, we should be able to drop that 8,000 feet that we are looking for. Once we get there, we'll go ahead and get the landing lights on, and then we should be good to go to start our approach. Hopefully, by then, Kara should be contacting the tower. Let me see if she has anything up now. No, she does not. Okay, that's fine. That is fine. So yeah, once again, this aircraft, just perfect for my tastes anyway. Doesn't have to be complex, doesn't have to be complicated, just has to be cool, just has to work, and that is one thing I will say with everything that has been promised by Cockspur regarding this aircraft. It's like Todd Howard would say of Skyrim fame. It just works. It just works. It does everything that it says it's supposed to do on the tin. I can't complain. I really can't complain about it. I love birds like this because this is the kind of stuff where, you know, on a Sunday afternoon, you just hop in because you just need a break from real life. So you just hop in, you set yourself up on a good flight plan, whether VFR or IFR. Obviously, we're doing VFR today. And you just go flying. And that, folks, as I've said many times on this channel, is exactly what flight simming should be about. Enjoying yourself, having fun, doing this because you still have that same childlike passion and love for flying. Once you start losing that, then it becomes work, and it's no longer a flight sim, it's no longer fun. So, yeah, you gotta tap into that child, that inner child, you know? That's what it's all about, man. That is what it's all about. Look at that. Doesn't get any better than that. See, we got the cloud shadows down there, you got the peninsulas, and so on and so forth. The sun is starting to get to that point where the sky is starting to change color. We will more than likely get down before sunset, because you know me, I don't like flying at night, especially in VR, because it gets pitch black in VR. So if we can avoid that at all possible, I'm okay with that, especially since I usually do bush flights. Nobody does bush flights at night. That's like suicide, pretty much. All right, but you can see we are already at 13,000 and change. What is our cabin alt like? 5961, pretty much stable there. So, okay, that's working as intended. Battery is still looking good, 25.4, so it's fully charged. Fuel, we're down to 12.97. We got plenty of fuel. We actually could have gotten away with about 50% fuel, but I like to be safe, you know. 12 miles to go until Larid, and off in the distance you can see the city of Leh. Beautiful, beautiful. A lot of history with that city, and with the area of Nadzab as a whole. I believe I've mentioned it before on previous channels. It was one of those areas where the Allies took back from the Japanese. The Imperial Japan had basically fortified these areas and made them into air bases and forward bases to accelerate their invasion, if you will. And between the Australians and the Americans and everybody, they went through with the help of the natives to basically clear out Leh and Nadzab, so that way the Allies could build their own air bases, such as the one that we're about to land at, which is now a public airport. All right, I'm going to zoom this in real quick here. It's one of my favorite areas, really, and part of the reason is the whole World War II history. I am always fascinated by the events of World War II, in particular the Pacific Theater. The Pacific Theater really, really appeals to me. All right, so we are at 10,000. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and drop us down before we actually reach our target altitude. We're going to drop down to about 5,000 here, which is where we should be for the next one. And I'm going to shallow up our descent just a little bit here. So once again, we're back to 12,000 feet per minute descent, which should be fine. And you can see we're starting to drop our airspeed now, which is also
Alpha Golf
fine.
Bravo, contact Nadzab approach on 118.6.
Give it some power here. We're going to go to the outside view really quick as we bring her in.
118.6 Alpha Golf Bravo. Goodbye. Nadzab approach, November 70 Alpha Golf Bravo 9,200 feet.
November 70 Alpha Golf Bravo, Nadzab approach altimeter 29.9, 2 radar contacts. Continue to clear it.
Okay, so as you can see, we are basically on our downwind leg right now. So from Larid to Inzwa, which means we need to bring her down to about 5,000 feet. Everything should be pretty much good to go. I'm just checking it all here just to make sure that we're going to be within range for gear and flap speeds. Our gear and flaps placard right here, it's kind of difficult to see unless you push your nose like right up close to it, but flap maximum speed is 200 for flaps 1, 160 for 2 or 3, and 145 for 4. Gear max speed is 180. So yes, you can see we've got some mountains in the way. This is why we don't want to get below 5,000 feet. So yeah, we'll keep that in mind as well. And I'm actually going to shallow up our descent here because we've got a little ways to go before we actually make it to where we need to be. So we're going to go to about minus 800 feet per minute. And that should be good. Now, more than likely, we won't be able to see Nadzab Airport from here because we've got clouds coming up and so on and so forth. But we do know that we're on downwind leg, so my plan is once we get parallel to the airport, we'll go ahead and drop our gear on our flaps, and hopefully our speed should be on target as well too. Alright, let me just check the cabin really quick, make sure everything is fine. Oh, and I will also turn our landing lights on. There we go. Okay, ladies, are you doing well? I am here to put away your wine glasses and turn off your lights. Also my lights. There we go. Make sure the bathroom is closed. It is. All right. And we'll head back to the cockpit. Okay, so yes, as you can see, we've got mountains in the way. Mountains in the way. Woohoo! It's going to get interesting. I'm going to pull the throttle back a little bit more here. We're almost to 5,000. Let's quickly go to the outside static camera here. Okay, so we are almost parallel to Nadzab, as you can see on our G1000 there, but of course we can't see a dang thing because clouds. We're closing in on 5,000 feet, so we're doing good there. 12 miles to go until Inzwa, and as you can see, we're going to go right traffic. Once we start passing AYNZ there, I will have Kara contact the tower and clear us for landing. In the meantime, I'm going to keep an eye out for some cumulogranitus down there. you wonder why I keep saying that, that's the pilot's joke for a mountain hidden in the clouds. Cumulo being, of course, cloud. Granite, well, you should know what granite is. We're going to try and avoid those at all costs. No one likes cumulogranitus. See, this is what I'm talking about. Look at that. You see that, right? Yeah. Cumulogranitus. Just waiting for us. It's like, come on, player. Come on. You know you want some of this. Just come a little lower. Just a little lower. We'll hook you up. Yeah, we're not playing that game today. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. All right, but that should be the last bit of mountains that we'll need to contend with. And you can see we're already below 200, so we're going to go flaps 1. Yep, there it is. There it is. Cumulogranitus right in front of us. This is why I did not go any lower than 5,000 feet. Let's take a look outside real quick. Okay, so we are at 180. What did we say flaps 2 was? 160. Okay, so we're going to keep dropping in power here. Now, I will also set our altimeter to 2,000, or actually, no, we're going to go to about 1,800 feet. There we go. And since we know we're not going to run into any mountains on our way down, we will hit the VS, and we'll start descending. Let's go with 700 feet per minute. That should be nice. Pull the power back. And here comes the fun part, folks. All right. Kara, do your thing, please. Nearest airport list. Don't tell me I gotta use a mouse. I gotta use a mouse. We want Nadzab, please.
Nadzab Tower November 70 Alpha Golf Bravo is 13 miles southwest, 4,700 feet with Sierra to land.
Beautiful.
November 70 Alpha Golf Bravo Nadzab Tower. Altimeter 29.9er2108 at 20. Fly straight in runway 09er.
Fly straight in runway 09er Alpha Golf Bravo.
All right, we're going to go ahead and pull the throttles back a little bit more. So pretty much idle here is what we're working with. And we're just going to let the aircraft do its thing to line itself up. We're just below gear speed, but I will not put out the gear until I can actually see an airport. So we are at idle throttle. And I may eat those words if these clouds keep popping up the way they are here. But we do know that the airport is on the north side of the river. That's the Markham River. And its little tributary right there. So we just need to look for that tributary. I think that's it there. And it's going to be somewhere on that side. Alright, you know what? Now is probably a good time, so let's go to the outside view, and this is exactly why I need a BelGeode landing cam, Cockspur, so I can go to the outside view and show people the gear extending. Okay, how we doing? We're going to zoom in here. Okay, we're just about ready for our turn to final. We're at 2,900 feet, so we're doing good. Let's go ahead and get the second stage of flaps. Just going to start bubbling up. Let's go third stage of flaps, and we're going to keep it there for now. Go ahead and get a little power up. So for our approach, we're looking at about 110. We don't want to get below 100. You can see that little blue mark there. This thing can stall once you start getting in those double-digit speeds there. So yeah, we want to keep it around 110-ish. It's a very light jet, so it really doesn't take much to get airborne, and conversely, it really doesn't take much to stall out. You can see these wings are pretty stubby as it is, and even though the engines are quite powerful, yeah, we don't want to tempt fate. Alright, but there is our airport, so right about now you should be seeing the little usual thing that I have pop up that tells you the ICAO code and so on and so forth. So I would say we're good to land. Now, if I remember correctly, as we're coming in this direction, there's not going to be VASI or PAPI lights, so I'm probably going to need to eyeball this. And I'm thinking I may want to bring us down to about 1,500 instead of 1,800. So let me just adjust that really quick here. There we go, 1,500. Let's make sure we don't go below 100. There we go. There we go. That power back in there, baby. And let's get that VS going. Alright, 400 feet per minute is what I'm looking for. I'm okay with that. We're back at about 111 knots, which is great. We're within 10 miles of the airport, so we should be good to go. We're just waiting to get that confirmation that we're good to land. And we're closing in on 1,500, so we'll keep an eye on our throttle and make sure that we're doing good there. And folks, go ahead and buckle up. If you have your drinks and your snacks, now would be a great time to finish them off because we are almost down. Yep, I kind of figured that was happening there. Notice our speed was starting to drop really quick there, so we're going to add a little more power. There we go, and we'll try to keep it right around 110-ish as she trims herself up. So naturally we don't have an ILS approach here. We don't have VASI or PAPI lights, so we're going to hand fly this sucker in, which means at some point in time I'm just going to turn off the autopilot altogether, and it will be up to the mercy of the winds to get us down safely. No worries, right? It's like I said at the beginning, this aircraft is a no worries aircraft. I love it. I love it. Alright, now instead of watching scenery, how about I figure out how we're going to land this puppy? One last look outside.
Alpha Golf Bravo, wind 083 at 20. Cleared to land runway 09er.
Clear to land runway 09er Alpha Golf Bravo.
Okay, well that is my cue. Autopilot, you go bye-bye. Autopilot is now off. Our trim should already be set for this speed. So if I pull back on the throttle a little bit here, we should start descending. And it's going to be up to me to keep us on target here. There we go, 400 feet per minute descent. Looking good so far. Looking good so far. So I sincerely hope that you have enjoyed this video and this look at the Cockspur Phenom PH100, the Embraer Phenom 100. I'm kind of hoping that Cockspur is going to take the initiative and do the 300 next, because I also do love the 300 when it comes to business jets. Pretty much everything that has Phenom in the name, I like it. I like it. The only exception, the only notable exception in the past has been the Carenado version for X-Plane 11. That was just a hot mess. There's no other way to put it. It was just a hot mess. I don't know if they actually were able to get things sorted out with that one, but needless to say, I never used it again. But this one is fine. I would definitely recommend if you're looking for a nice, fun bird, and this is definitely one of those niche aircrafts. So maybe you like biz jets or very light jets. Maybe you don't. If you don't, well, just don't get it. But if you do, yeah, this one's an easy recommendation. It's so sweet, so easy to fly. It's very docile. She'll do what she says on the tin. She's a no worries bird. I don't know how many times I gotta say it. In fact, I'll probably make it the title of this video. The no worries bird. But yeah, we're on final. We're good to go. No BelGeode landing cam this time. We actually have to work for a living. And a little bit of crosswind action going on here too. Alright, let's bring her in. Let's bring her in. Over the threshold. And drop everything down. She's going to be a little bit floaty, so we're already down on throttle. And she's down just like that. Pillow soft, folks. Pillow soft. We've already passed our first taxiway, but that's fine. We're going to work on the second one. And we'll start hitting the brakes. There is, as far as I'm aware, no air brakes, spoilers, or anything like that. So yeah, you should be able to stop this thing in short order anyway. So there we go. Look at that. Look at that. Already at taxi speeds. Let's go ahead and get off the runway. Fancy, huh?
Alpha Golf Bravo, contact ground on 121.7.
All right. Kara, do your thing.
121.7 Alpha Golf Bravo.
Okay.
Goodbye.
And we'll go ahead and get our flaps up. There we go. Go ahead and get our taxi lights on. We'll leave the strobes on until we park. Other than that, everything else looks pretty good. The only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off our anti-ice because we really don't need them right now. Okay, everything's great. Let's taxi in and we'll call this video done. So there you have it, folks. There you have it. No custom scenery this time to show you. Everything has been default, which is fine. Sometimes, you know, the plane just needs to stand on its own. We don't necessarily have to show you all kinds of nifty custom scenery to go with it. But I sincerely hope that you will give this one a shot if it is the kind of thing you're into. Obviously, if you're not into biz jets, then you know, don't worry about it. But if you're looking for something nice and easy to fly, something that's going to treat you right as long as you treat it right, this is the one. This is the one. Great job done by Cockspur, except for the little things that I've spoken about earlier in the video. I can't really find too much to complain about on this one. The textures are awesome. The audio is awesome. functionality is exactly what I expected. There's just nothing really horrible I can say. It's not going to be groundbreaking, mind you. It's not going to be, you know, anything that is off the beaten path, per se. But it is exactly what it's supposed to be. And we already know what that is. A no worries bird. Alright, let's go ahead and get everything shut down. So, ignition, we'll go ahead and turn you off. Engines, we'll go ahead and turn you off. There we go. Flaps are already up. Gear is down. This is great. Generators, we'll go ahead and turn you off. We'll leave the batteries on because I know what's going to happen if we don't. And in order to get rid of our people, we're going to need the payload window up. I know we would probably open the door before we do that, but yeah, I'm gonna do it this way here. So I need delete and that. And that. There has to be an easier way to do this, by the way. Cockspur, that would be a unique and interesting feature if you would add that in there so that we can just automatically clicky either on the little thing there, the checklist there, and have it automatically add weights to it. That would be cool. And look at that, we still have a ton of gas, 20.54% gas. Awesomeness, pure awesomeness. All right, I'm going to leave everything on. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? Here's what we're going to do. Let's put the GPU on. There we go. We'll open the cargo doors while we're at it. Okay, and we'll get our chocks on. There you have it. So that way we just show you those little things as well. But other than that, we should be good to go. Set that to off. Set that to off, and of course it's going to do the thing I hate that it does, which is even more pronounced in this aircraft because of the fact that the camera position's off. But yeah, there we have it. So I'm going to put myself back here in the cabin and hop to the outside view, and I'm going to give you my goodbyes. So, thank you as always for watching. This has been BelGeode. I have been flying in Microsoft Flight Simulator. The aircraft that we have been showcasing today is by Cockspur, and this is the Phenom 100, the Embraer Phenom 100. Absolutely gorgeous little bird. Does exactly what it says on the tin. It is easy to use. It is wonderful in VR, both performance-wise and for functionality. There's only a few minor things that I will work on with Cockspur to see if we can get all of that sorted out for you. But it's available now. The link is going to be in the video description below. And yeah, if this is your kind of bird, then I would definitely recommend you pick it up. It is so worth it. But other than that, I would say we're just about done. So thank you as always for watching. This has been BelGeode, Microsoft Flight Simulator. If you enjoy what you've seen, please feel free to give me a like, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. And don't forget to go ahead and register for Flight Sim Expo. I'm going to be talking about that for the next few months because I would love to meet a lot of you there. I can't promise to buy you drinks though, so let's just get that out of the way from like right now. But I would love to see you all there. It's going to be awesome. Absolutely. Anyways, I will talk to you all really soon. Have a great day. Ciao.